Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Thursday edition of PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick, same crew as always. The question of the day: is this massive rally in Tesla finally over, at least for now? We'll talk about that. Some fundamental news out on the company yesterday. They're getting a downgrade also this morning. So we'll talk about Tesla and the whatever strength there is or isn't left in this rally. We'll also talk about some earnings: Morgan Stanley, Bank of New York, Charles Schwab, Taiwan Semiconductor, CSX, Alcoa, all reporting. We have some headlines on XPO Logistics and Signet. They are both moving off of that. We'll talk about some stocks mentioned in the chat. I see Square already. That had a great day yesterday. And our guest will be Jonathan Corpina. He is a senior managing partner at Meridian Equity Partners. He would join us at 8:35. In the meantime, throughout the show, you can always give us a call, leave us a voicemail. We will ask your question on the air, 734-494-0246. Give us a call throughout the show. Joel, what's the word here overnight?
Green on the screen, up 10 handles, 33.0375, trading above 3,300 for the first time. Caught a bid right off that 6 p.m. open 94 and a quarter, your low 94 even. Pre-market high 33.08. There's a good target for you on the upside. Don't have anything up there for you because there's nothing up there. Crude in the red by a dime at 57.71. Gold up $1.80 at 55.80. Silver doing the dance around 18 at $18 even, up 1.2 cents. Bitcoin struggling here at 9,000. The futures are down $1.25 at 8,755. Going to bring in Triple D here. I do have one ratings change that I want to give at the end of the show, and I know you guys are all know this is tongue in cheek, but I am upgrading Lululemon to like a screaming buy. I went there yesterday to buy a gift for Lisa's birthday. I spent 2 Benjamins in less than 7 minutes there.
You can spend some money really fast there. You
really
buy anything.
Fast.
They must make their profit margins must just be awesome. I mean, you know, you get those yoga pants that are $100 and you can probably go buy the same pants almost at Walmart. I guess they don't feel the same. Everybody will say that for $10. I've never understood it, but man, I tell you, that stock is just going. And obviously we don't give investment advice on the show. So that was a joke from Joel, but I mean, wow. Lululemon has just been, you know, every time it has pulled back. Remember it pulled back in December, had the significant pullback, another buying opportunity. This stock, if you go out to the monthlies, from 2017 at $50, it has now up, 400% to $250 in just over 2.5 years. This stock has got to be one of the best retail performers in that time, if not the best retail performer in that time.
They were really nice there.
And mall-based, too.
Yeah. Well, this was a freestanding store.
Oh, they got the freestanding store.
Yeah, this was in Birmingham. Very nice area if you've never been to this area. So I was downtown there, and the girl was so helpful and so nice. You know what I did? I got her some stuff to work out on that Peloton.
Oh,
yeah,
so look at you spending the big bucks. You got the expensive Peloton, the expensive yoga pants on the expensive Peloton. Joel, I don't even know if I know you anymore. We're not like that.
You know what? The Peloton kicked my butt yesterday.
What did it do to you?
I did I moved up some program and I did the rock and roll 30-minute ride and I was dripping. You got to get one, man. You got to get one.
I can't
I'm
afford
gonna have to call
one, Joel. I have to. If I was short Tesla today, maybe I'd be able to afford one. But
it's $69 a month for a couple years. You can afford that. All right, let's do some earnings here.
Well, no, we're going to Tesla. It's got to be Tesla.
Tesla.
It's all about Tesla.
Man.
You gave me the segue. 21 points. It's down here this morning. Spencer asks, is the short squeeze over? Well, it is in the short term. We'll tell you that much. I don't know if it's over forever, but we have multiple headlines here. Not only the big downgrade from Jonas, it's also a headline out of California. Spencer Israel, give us the details. You're just waking up and saying, what the hell is going on with Tesla? Let's know what's going on.
Right. So multiple catalysts here this morning. They are getting a downgrade from Morgan Stanley. Adam Jonas is the analyst there. He is very influential on the stock. He is downgrading Tesla to underweight, but he's raising his price target to 360. So figure that one out. Also, though, the headline I'm paying more attention to is this report out of California from an industry reporting firm that vehicle registrations in California fell by half on a year-over-year basis in the fourth quarter. They were down 46% from 2019 to 2018. And so we know California is a huge market for electric vehicles and for Tesla in general. It's where the company's headquartered. And new vehicle registrations fell by half in the state last quarter.
So you have two headlines driving it down here this morning, plus the fact that the short squeeze was already starting to peter out before that. And these two stocks, Beyond Meat and Tesla, in the last 2 weeks have been very trading together very well. Beyond Meat, obviously, a lot more volatile than Tesla. But if you look, the top of the short squeeze was the same morning on both stocks. Both stocks with two red candles in a row after a big candle the day before that. So, you know, it's funny how two stocks have absolutely nothing to do with each other can get connected when they're both squeezing at the same time. So we saw the Beyond Meat. I said the Beyond Meat short squeeze was over yesterday when it was in the 112 area. It continues to be down 107. I believe it's over. The Tesla still has a story. I'm not going to say it's completely over here, but it's definitely cooled off now. So now you get to a point where, you know, some of the bears have some food to chew on here. And also, obviously, this report from California does not sound good as well. So anybody who's long the stock is probably locking in the profits. I'm not sure, you know, you're seeing new shorts coming into this market here because they've been hit so hard on it. But I definitely think you're seeing probably a lot of natural sellers because this stock has been an unbelievable performer. You get two headlines, one from California, one from the analyst at Morgan Stanley, downgrading the stock. It's going to be some profit taking in it, and that's what you're seeing, extreme profit taking. But really, when you put it in perspective, the stock's just back to where it was 3 days ago. So hard to declare the whole thing over, but it was overdone. We knew it was going to start to give some back. So you're down $50 from where it was the high. So now if you start to come back up, now you run into overhead supply issues here as well. Just like the same thing with Beyond Meat. Every time it's tried to rally $3-4, there's more natural sellers now. So now you have a problem. You don't have clear skies ahead for Tesla going up. You get back up to 505 or 510, you have natural sellers there again. I'm not sure you're going to get back up there. It's obviously there's still some short interest here, still the potential for some people to cover, but I think this is a hard one to call here now.
Yeah, this is a really hard one to call because that day, I don't know what the analyst was. He went from 385 to like 615, and then Kramer pumped it, and I'm like, man, oh man, oh man, this is frothy.
It was frothy a while ago.
I know.
And it just it felt like upside capitulation that morning. It really did. And what we mean by upside capitulation is like everybody who needs to be in buys it. Every short that needs to cover covers it. The Beyond Meat was ridiculous upside capitulation. I mean, the thing went from $100 to $137 in a day and a half. That was upside capitulation. That's, you know, usually signals the end of a move. So the Beyond Meat was easier to call. This thing went up substantially too. You're talking about 10% move in 2 days as well. So probably the short squeeze for both of these stocks is over at least short term. I think it's over forever in Beyond Meat, or I should never say forever because I thought Beyond Meat's story was over. But the Tesla story, I don't know where Beyond Meat goes. The valuation was always ridiculous there. You could see the argument where if Tesla started to make 10 or 12 or $15 a share, like some analysts are saying it could, you know, you could see how it could actually grow into the multiple, which is crazy to think about. You know, that Tesla could be an earnings story like Kramer was saying. But I mean, if they start making 10, $15, it could be an earnings story. Beyond Meat's never, I don't believe, going to justify the valuation that it's trading at from an earnings perspective. So that's why the two stories are different as well. But as of right now, it looks like the short squeeze in both these stocks is at least on pause.
Right. And for this one, just for the Tesla, I mean, it's always after the fact, Jack, but you had that all-time high 2 days ago at 47, 547.41. You closed at 37.92. And man, I was like, and I wrote down, I'm like, see what Tesla does, see if it can go green on the session, right? Everyone's marked at 537.92. And I saw it in a 537 handle and kind of took my eye off it. And I saw that it went up to 37.84. So people were looking to get out at the mark on that one at 37.92. And then, you look at it 15 minutes later, it's down $6. It's just so hard to follow. But that's why a lot of times I like to put the emphasis on the closing price as opposed to what that actual all-time high is. Can get you in and out of trades. Let's look at the pre-market trading. We're just leaking here. I mean, I don't even. Oh, I'm not giving levels on Tesla anymore. I forgot, Dennis. You can give levels. I'm done giving levels on Tesla.
It's hard to give a level on this. I mean, the thing was $400 10 trading sessions ago. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 sessions ago. The thing could go back to 450. It's still on an uptrend. So that's 10% down from here. This is just, at this point in time, I'd be more of a seller of rallies than a buyer of dips. I will say that. Got back up, and I don't know where it's going. There's no way to really project where it's going. I'm just saying hypothetical situations. Starts to get back up in the 500s and the teens. I think you have natural sellers now. And I'm not sure you have all the buyers.
You're not going to get back up there. You're just not going to, this thing's just not going to stop.
Then I'd have no trade.
Yeah.
Because I would only play this probably from the short side right now if it had a rally. So, and I'm not shorting at 21 points down. So, this is a curveball and it's hard to hit. But I'm saying in a hypothetical situation when this started to, next couple days, I don't think, I think it could continue to leak. I think I could see turnaround, start rally too. Impossible pitch to hit here. If you're calling Tesla and you're saying it's over, I'm going to short it now. Well, you're 50 points off where it was 2 days ago. So where's your stop out? How are you controlling the risk on this? I don't enter trades unless I can control the risk. And I guess you could say, well, it's below 500. I'm going to cover if it goes back above 500. I guess you could play it that way.
That could happen.
I guess you could play it that way, but I think you get stopped out probably. It could easily go back up over 500, 501, 502, stop you out, and then puke 20 points. I mean, it's a really hard one to control the risk on here. It always was. I mean, Tesla's a really hard stock to trade for all those reasons. Even when it's not going in parabolic mode, it's always a hard stock to trade. I do trade it periodically here and there, but it's been just powered by the short squeeze for a long time. And it needs some cooling off. This is the cool off period.
All right. I can't resist. I got to give 2 levels.
He does have levels for us.
473 on the downside.
Okay.
Because there's a pair of lows, 72.87 and 73.70. So, right. And then on the upside, if this gets anywhere, I'd love to see it get back up to 516.79, 518.50. That was the low in the close from yesterday. But man, you're not,
he'd love to see it up there because he'd love to buy puts or short the stock up there.
Exactly.
That's the same thing I was saying. I'd love it to get back up there too to get a second stock.
But
I'll tell you something. If it bounced back just today 20 points, I'd be spooked. I'd be like, wow, these buy the dippers are just all over everything. But you think
I hope some analyst comes out and upgrades it tomorrow. That's what I would love to see.
Well, that can change things too.
Yep.
I don't know if I see that happening here though. I think it just needs a cool off period. So the Beyond Meat, it had already broken, and this was just your classic short squeeze in a bear market for Beyond Meat. The Tesla's been in a bull market. That's the big difference between the two. I mean, this, Beyond Meat topped out at 239. You can forget about that. I don't believe it's ever getting back there. Just my opinion. I never thought it could get back to 137. So it's trading up here this morning. Let's go to Beyond Meat because these two stocks are widely traded right now. I mean, it's already traded 262,000 shares. I'm still going to say, I said it yesterday when we were trading the teens. I'm still going to say I think rallies are to be sold on this now. I think the stock is back under $100 within a week or two, and I think it maybe even shorter than that. So, but it's significantly off the 135, so it's hard to say, okay, I'm going to come short it now. But if I was long this thing, I would have been long gone when the thing was going up, because it was a big squeeze. I mean, we had, JV Spec played it perfectly, bought it when we started talking around $80 about it, and scaled out on the way up. I mean, the trade is kind of over here. So now it becomes difficult. I mean, you're back in, if you're shorting it now, well, it's $30 higher 2 days ago. So you're way late to the party in the short. And if you're buying it, I just think that this could be a Rite Aid on you, where it gives not only part of the move back, but all of the move back. So
You know who
it's
nailed this trade?
hard
You
to
know, I
trade.
know we talk about analyst this, that, and the other thing. The only upgrade that you've had in this thing since August of last year was by Alexia Howard at Bernstein. She upgraded it on November 5th. I wrote this up. It was around 81, 82. You even had a chance to get it cheaper.
I thought we had
right?
an upgrade the other day,
No. Yeah.
didn't we?
No,
I don't see
we had a downgrade. That's what you're
a
thinking
downgrade.
Was it downgrade the other
Which-
day?
Joel
But
will get-
anyways, she had a target of 106. She did that on November 8th. And then yesterday she downgraded it and stuck with her price target. And hey, that's a hell of a call there and a really, really volatile stock. So hats off to Alexia Howard of Bernstein on that.
Let's jump over. It's not just Beyond Meat and Tesla show. There's lots of other stocks to talk about here. We did have some earnings here. We do have some earnings from last night, but we also have some pretty good earnings from this morning. I see Taiwan Semiconductor trading higher. I see Morgan Stanley trading higher. I see Charles Schwab trading slightly higher here too. Where do you want to go, Mr. Israel?
No,
Lead the way.
Let's go with Morgan Stanley. Q4 adjusted EPS beat $1.20 versus 99 cents. Sales also beat 10.85 versus $9.78 billion. So beat and a beat for Morgan Stanley.
It's nice numbers. I've lost a lot of money chasing bank earnings. I mean, the JP Morgan numbers were good. If you chase those up to 140 2 days ago, you're already down money. Citigroup, same story, pops and then drops. Goldman Sachs, if you're chasing that sell, it came back. So the fade has been the play in the banks so far this earnings season, which always seems to be every earnings season. It seems to be the contrarian, the person who's fading the big move seems to make money. So I'm not going to buy Morgan Stanley up $1 here. I will say, or $1.30. I would say it's a good report. I don't want to short it either just because it's a pretty good report. But I mean, you think about if it got near 55, there's probably some size up there.
Yeah,
I would think, and I don't know where it's been to in the pre-market, but I would think naturally this might top out in the higher 54s.
54.83.
Okay, so it's already starting to show that.
Yep. So that stands as your pre-market high. You haven't been in this area in a super long time. You did have a high at 55.64 in May of 2018. So if you're really holding out for a target in that one, there it is. It's got to be some size to the book somewhere in this thing. I mean, a New York stock, but keeping an eye on that pre-market high, 54.83.
We also have Taiwan Semi, as Dennis mentioned, TSM. They reported, let me get their numbers actually. I need to go to a different screen to pull them up. Here.
And remember, this is already trading.
Already traded. So here we go. EPS for them, 73 cents versus 70-cent estimate. So beat on that. Sales was essentially in line. It was a slight miss, 10.39 versus $10.46 billion.
From a purely technical basis, 60 looks toppy. You got up there, you try to get above there, little breakouts, the fake out yesterday. Now you come back in. So I almost be a fader of this move. Up in the upper 59s, I think it sets up not bad from the short.
59.70, yesterday's high. There you go. There's a level for you.
There's a level for you.
Yep. And as you said, a lot of that has been factored into this already. Pre-market high comes in at boom. You got up here 59.50 area. So 59 to 60. I'll concur on that with you. Potential resistance in TSM.
Pound out these earnings real fast. So we got Schwab numbers out there. I see it trading higher.
I haven't seen Schwab yet. I was looking.
Okay, so it's just trading up in speculation that they're going to be good.
For CSX as well. Haven't seen that.
CSX is tonight.
Oh, that's why I haven't seen it yet. All right.
PPG.
Yeah, I was going to do PPG and Alcoa. So
sure.
PPG reported this morning EPS missed $1.31 versus $1.34. Sales also missed 3.67 versus 3.68 billion dollars. The Q1 guidance, EPS guidance they gave was light by 10 to 20 cents. And you're seeing that down, and I'll do Alcoa with it. AA reporting yesterday after the close, EPS 31-cent loss. That was lower than the 23-cent loss estimate. Sales also missed 2.44 versus 2.47 billion dollars. So a miss and a miss for Alcoa, and PPG not great either.
Alcoa's been a dog forever, so expectations were lower. I think you have support in the lower 19s for Alcoa. I will say that. PPG has been a pretty good stock. So now you're moving the opposite way. I think there's this double bottom around 125. Let's see if it can get back over there. It becomes a little more interesting. Below 125, it's not as interesting from the long.
Yeah, it's right there right now. You
Yeah.
had the drop. You got down to 122 even, and man, someone has an opinion here. 125. Your last 4 or 5 15-minute brackets right there. 125 resistance. So yesterday's range, you're gapping down. If you really go into rally mode, keep an eye on 130. Posted a new all-time closing high yesterday at 130.74.
And then just let's move away from the earnings for a second.
Yep.
There's 2 big stories from last night. The one is XPO Logistics, and this is just ripping higher. It's up 20% here. They're talking about breaking up the company. It's so interesting because this was actually on Kramer last night too. So I mean, maybe, you know, and obviously they kept it under the wraps because nobody had a clue of it. It was just trading at 82.82, and then she just rips up $16. But I don't know if Kramer was, you know, obviously knew about this beforehand because he was coming on Mad Money, and then they talked all about this. But you know, he didn't tell anybody, so it's all fine. But wow, what a rip on 16 points up here on XPO.
Yeah, it was very interesting the way they coordinated that. So
they coordinated it. I wonder, you know, if the company knew that they were gonna, you know, put this out, and that's why they were pushing to get on Mad Money. I mean, they're basically, you know, promoting the stock, saying we're going to, you know, break up this company. This is coming from the company. Bloomberg reported, I believe, originally.
Yeah, Bloomberg had it, and then XPO at like 4:30
came out with a press release.
Had a PR, and then 2 hours later
they're on Mad Money. And remember, Mad Money's pre-recorded between 4 and 5, so obviously they were ready to rock and roll and tell everybody about this. So, and they talked about this.
It's not a big deal that, like, if Kramer knew, it's not a big deal.
No, it's fine because it's not like he was going around. You could see really in the action. I don't think he was going around telling everybody. It's not like it was ripping higher here.
It's just interesting from like a media strategy.
Yeah, they got a scoop. They looks like they got a scoop.
Exactly. So anyway, the news, like Dennis said, they are exploring potentially breaking up the company and selling off business units. That's the news.
I mean, if you're chasing this up $20 against a $100 psychological level, maybe it keeps ripping. But this isn't, you know, this huge growth stock. Yeah, they might break it up. Maybe there's a way that they can expand the multiple, breaking the company up. But it sounds to me like here's a company that they're not pleased with the performance of how the company has performed, or the stock has performed lately, and they're trying to find ways to increase shareholder value. So they're not doing it by, you know, the earnings growth. They're doing it by potentially separating the company. So, I mean, that's exciting and all. Maybe they sell some of it off, and maybe they can make some money from it. But I'll tell you, I'm not paying up 20% for this. No.
And you just missed that one too, right? Did you say that?
I was actually, this is just, you know, bad luck on my part. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, I'll buy a stock when it's going to be featured on Mad Money, and it was advertised that it was going to be on Mad Money. I didn't say anything about this. And I had my order in there, and it just went up, and I just missed the buy. I was actually on the close. I was trying to buy this on the close at 82.75, and it closed at 82.82. So I was like, oh, I just missed that. And then like half an hour later, I was like, that was a big miss. It was straight up to 90. I mean, if you got this thing long and you were buying it just, you know, ahead of the Mad Money feature, you had made a killing.
JV Spec just mentioned there was 60,000 and 55, but we're up 256 and 55.50.
What are we talking about?
Morgan.
Oh, like how, Joel? You got segued right back to a stock. I know what you're talking.
It just ripped though.
We've traded 887,000 shares. So
chew through it.
when you put 50,000 shares, I mean, it's really nothing. So if there's like 1 million shares there, that's interesting. But I mean, it's going to rip through it. But you know, it's a level to talk about there. Oh yeah, we talked about it. It just, you know, it just ripped up another $1.
I know. That's why I mentioned.
Did they say something?
I don't know.
Well, it was 54.40 when we talked about it 2 minutes ago. It's 55.40. Well, I don't know what happened there. That's interesting.
Conference call is probably happening right now.
Whew.
Wow, that's a ripper. I was saying I thought it could top out at, you know, around 55. I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah,
significantly higher than that.
Definitely, we're not. With this XPO, I mean, you're sitting on
who's paying up 20% for this? Is that worth that much?
I don't know.
They break up the company. That's worth that much? Or they sell a piece of the company? FedEx should be doing this tomorrow. If this is going to give you that much value, I'm long FedEx, full disclosure. They should be doing this tomorrow, saying we're going to break up the company. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and I'm just I was looking at the monthlies here, and man, you had like this wall at 85 and a half, 86 on the monthly charts, and blew through that. Now you're getting into like it just cascaded down at the end of 2018. So if you want to drill down and look at some daily levels, go back on your daily chart, try and find 2 or 3 in the same area. Maybe there's a gap fill somewhere, but it's ripping right now. Someone's
Really
buying
ripping.
it. You know what it reminds me of? Remember that day when was it one of the railroads came out and said something similar?
CSX.
Yeah, and you stepped in front of it.
Oh, and it
remember?
kept going. So you're right, Joel. You got to think about that. CSX was doing the same thing. That was when the stock was like $40, and it's now 75. So I guess caution to the seller here.
Exactly.
Now that you made that point.
Yep. No, it just looks like someone's just bid.
Good point.
Yep.
That ripped back in 2016, and I was like, CSX was trading up like 20% on, they were going to break up or they were doing something like that, some type of financial engineering, and it kept ripping. And I was like, ooh, learned the hard way there. I lost 5 points in about 5 minutes.
I think that guy that ended up passing away, wasn't he he switched back and forth on the companies?
It was something.
That was one of your worst trades on the show. And then
I did that on the show?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And then also the Janus Fund. Remember that one?
Well, that was brutal. I don't think that was on the show though. That was after or whatever, but maybe it was on the show. That was, when they got what's his face? Gross.
Yeah. But anyways, a few segues there. Spencer, you can rein us back in here.
Well, the other big mover of the day besides XPO is Signet, and their holiday sales were so good that they're actually raising their guidance for the quarter.
Holy mackerel.
So holiday sales were up 1.6%, e-commerce sales specifically up 13.5%. And again, so good, raising their Q4 and their fiscal year EPS guidance. The Q4 EPS guidance was raised to $3 or the mid $3 range. And their full year EPS guidance was raised to like the $3.60, $3.70 range. And they like it. I mean, the bar is low, but they like it.
The bar is low and the short interest is high. That's a bad combo for you shorts out there. I'll tell you, it's up 27%.
And you're not
shorting it.
Nope. No.
Because think about this stock, and not saying it was $150 a share going back 4 years ago, $152. So you could squeeze them to 30, 35, and you'd still be in a downtrend. I mean, where do you stop? Where do you say, okay, well, this is it? This is going to be an epic short squeeze here today. And we know we've been in short squeeze central here since we turned to 2020. 2020 has been the year of the short squeeze. So, I mean, I would be very nervous on short. I see 32% short interest. I don't know what you have on your information there, Spencer. It seems like mine always lags a little bit, but from the last quarter or whatever, it looks like 32%. So that's high. It's really high. Short interest high.
That's what I have.
What do you have?
That's what I have.
32. That's scary combination to be short the stock. I will not be shorting this. I won't be chasing it up 27%. This is again another no, don't hit this pitch. It's really hard to call. I could see him squeezing it to 30 though. I could see that being possible, and that's why I can't bring myself to short it. I'm not going to chase it up $6. You just got to look at what else hasn't moved that has a high short interest. You almost
that's a scanner.
You almost got to start looking through that chat. Start looking through stocks that look like they're kind of breaking out. We're not talking GameStop. We're talking about stocks that are starting to get up near the upper end of their recent trading range, and they have a high short interest, and they have low expectations. That's the kind of stock you want to be long here right now, at least because it's been short squeeze. I mean, the pot stock set up well. They did their little short squeeze there. I don't know if it's over, but Tilray's still holding up not bad. So maybe it's not over yet. I mean, there's just a lot of stocks with that potential setup because there's been a lot of stocks that have been in the gutter for a long time. Signet's been in the gutter. It's a little squeeze happening.
Des, just going back here to Janus, that was on the show, and JV Spec shorted it along with you.
Oh, JV, that was an ugly one. Because it went up so Gross was going from Pimco over to Janus, and its stock was up like 20%. I was like, is Bill Gross worth that much? And then it went up like 40%. I was like, yes, he is. That's how you lose 20% in 20 minutes. Short and rocket ships. Look, there's a theme here. Though when I'm losing money on these things, it's like I'm trying to be a hero and saying, okay, this is overdone. I'm going to be the hero. And yeah, so that's been the theme is don't short the rocket ships.
All right, S&P futures hanging in there as we get retail sales yawn. Retail sales excluding autos up 7% versus 6%. Retail sales in line
Oh, yes.
0.3%. So people are still spending money, right? Holiday, because they're taking all their money from the stock market and they're going to buy stuff at retail. No, they're buying it online, right? They're not buying it in stores, but except for Target, they're going to Target, right? And that one was an interesting one from yesterday, Dennis. You got it actually opened. It gave you a shot off the open if you would like one of those whoops trades, like you didn't short the open, you let it shake out, and then when it came back down through the open, 117.49, you did get a little bit of a trade off that one. Huge volume though yesterday. People may be heading for the exits in Target here. I'd be careful with that one on the long side.
Well, they already did head for the exits. I still think if you were playing it long, you want to see the 115.56 low hold from yesterday.
For
So
sure.
I can't argue with you if you want to try to call the bottom, but that would be my stopping out point. The problem is, like me and Joel were saying, is the gap is down to 111. So there's just not that much in there. So it's not a slam dunk. Like if it went down to the 110, 111 area yesterday, Joel and I would be like, you got some nice support here. It could bounce at this level.
Yep.
But you're kind of, you're early. You're potentially early here on the bounce. So that's a difficult thing. The one that did bounce was Costco, which we talked about. Walmart and Costco were both trading down, and both of them did bounce on the earnings. So they were down. Costco was down $3 in the morning on sympathy. That ended up closing green. And like we were saying, we knew the Costco numbers were good. They were giving you a gift, really, that pulling back. Costco had already reported kick butt numbers. So if any of these things, Costco's been the best performer from a fundamental basis there, and it's holding up. And you could even argue the little flag. Costco gets above 302, 303, starts to get interesting again.
All right, Spencer, you want to try and sneak one more in here before our guest?
We actually, Jonathan Corpina just emailed us. He got pulled away from his desk, so we're gonna have.
Lost our guest.
We lost Jonathan Corpina for the day. Something came up on the floor.
We better scramble to get some content here.
It's okay. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. We have.
Yeah, that's what we lack. We lack content, Dennis.
I'll just go on a 30-minute tangent for you.
We only covered like 60 stocks, in an hour. So
actually, lately we've only covering about 6 because I talk too long. Apparently,
I've noticed that as well. Let's go to some questions that we've gotten from the chat, and so somebody dropped us in the chat, and somebody also called in to ask us about Square and to get our thoughts. Great day yesterday.
Yeah.
In SQ. Let's talk about this one.
I mean, the tech is just hot. I mean, you can look at it here and you go over and you just see, we've had some big moves, and Apple maybe peeled back a little bit from the highs. It's some smaller tech stocks that are starting to rip too. Think about Etsy. Full disclosure, I'm long Etsy. I'm also long Square SQ. There's room here to move. I mean, it's been a big move. You're coming in now, you're chasing it a bit because, I hate chasing stocks. And if you go back a week and a half ago, the stock was $61. That's where you strike, where all that support was. Now it's 71. You're almost at a point where maybe you take some profits here if you're in it for a trade. I'm in it in my retirement account, so I'm sticking with it. I think there's room to 80. It's it got up there once, back when I owned it. I bought it at 61 and went up to 80, and then it came back down and got through it down to 54, back up to 71. I mean, the trading range has kind of been 60 to 80. So now you're in the middle of it. So it's a hard trade here. I could see, the thing giving it back. I could see if the market starts to roll over, market continues. I could see how this could get to 80, in a hurry if the market continues to go higher. So I think you're in the middle of the trading range here, which makes it difficult. I think you're too late to come in here long now. And I think you're too early if you're trying to short it. I think the better area is up at 80.
I think this is, and I mentioned this before, this is like one of the most loved stocks on this show. I know, Dennis, you like it. You're long in your portfolio. I remember having Sean Udall on it, talking about it.
It's a growth story still.
Yeah, and who else?
Sean Emery.
Here.
Sean Emery's really been, a pumping, SQ for a long time. He really likes that. And Sean does some great research. He's a guy that we've had on the show, quite a few times there. Sean does fantastic fundamental research too. So when Sean, and both Seans really do. The Sean's.
We should do a Sean show.
Sean show, just Sean's. Well, yeah. Well, just these are the Sean's we know. These are the Sean's we know.
Okay.
I don't know where that came from.
This one, I mean, you find
like a nursery rhyme. I feel like that's like a nursery.
No, that's from Kids in the Hall. It was a Canadian show. It was like
Oh,
they
yeah.
did this
no,
did this
now
segment
we're-
on Dave's, and it was like, these are the Daves we know. These are the Daves we know, and it was like goes through all the Daves he knows. It's kind of
You've totally lost me. You're talking about
You
Canadian
ever watch Kids in the Hall when you were a kid? You've
Kids in the Hall.
you've been older. You've been like
Spencer, you haven't heard of that.
have you heard of Kids in the Hall?
I have heard of that. It wasn't like a sketch show.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live.
I've heard of that. Yes.
So that's why these are the Sean's we know. So I don't know if anybody got that. Some Canadian listeners might have got that.
Oh my gosh.
He
You
says,
guys-
JJ Bud says lots of people don't watch that in the US. He knew what I was talking about. There's a few people that knew.
Well, oh boy, you guys,
Okay,
I lost my train of thought here. You guys
Bring
are
it
all over. You guys are all over
Sean
the
show.
place.
Square. We're on Square.
Square.
Sean's of the
okay.
market.
You
Okay.
had a
Sean of the market.
maybe
You know, one time Jim Rome did a Rex thing. He had people on with the first name Rex, and he kept on having people. He had it on for like 37 days before he ran out of people named Rex. So we'll do a Sean streak like that as well. Square, 68, man. That's the Rock of Gibraltar on the downside. You guys aren't worried about support right now because it's going up, but long term, just love 68 as support. You're gapping into a gap area almost. You had that gap down day at earnings at 70.81. You're trading above that now. So theoretically, there's nothing up here until 79.01. Or where's the gap fill? 80. Oh, what a nice.
That's why I was
target.
saying there's
80.
air everywhere.
Air to 80. Yep.
Air down to
So-
71 again too because he just ran up. There's
Yeah.
air everywhere.
Okay. Air.
This is
everywhere.
air. The air trade.
A couple more closes over
Air square.
70, closing over 70 a couple more times be good after that consolidation period, and then a little break out of that consolidation. So let's see if we can hold the top of that trading range from the last 3 or 4 days. So there's a couple levels in Square SQ.
We also had somebody call in and ask us about Apple. I don't know what that tick was at 414. It looks like a bad print yesterday. If it's not, if you even see it on your
Let's
chart.
see.
But regardless of that,
I don't see it.
person wants to know about our thoughts on Apple here.
Oh, jeez. Thoughts on Apple?
It's ran so far. It's priced now for perfection. So if you're coming in here now, the trend is still your friend. Absolutely. Above 300, the bulls are in complete control still. I am long Apple in my retirement account. I plan on staying long Apple in my retirement account. It's one of my best stocks. It was up almost 100% last year, which is an unbelievable move for a stock of this size of market cap. But now, if you're coming in, it's your price for perfection. That's what I will say. If you're trying to short it, you got to lean on the high. You don't want the stock making new all-time highs. So if you're coming here and saying, okay, I think today's move is overdone, this is giving me a chance to get the short on. 3.7. If this started ticking 318, I'd get out. So if you're shorting at 314, you got a 4-point stop. So maybe you say it comes down to 300. It's still in control, though. The trend is still up as long as it's above 300. Below 300, it starts to become concerning. I have no intention of selling Apple anytime soon. It's been one of my best stocks for a long time. That's from an investment standpoint, though.
I would say if you're looking for another leg up here, there's a pair of highs in the 317 handle, 1707, 1757. And then you also have your old time closing high at 1696. So using the high, the low, whatever that close, 317. That's the level. You're still $3 away from that. You have sellers 2 out of the last 3 days. You haven't even taken out yesterday's high yet at 15.5. So that's what I'm looking for another leg up here in Apple. And I'm still kicking myself because, when was the not the FinTech? Yeah, the FinTech Awards. When was that? In November, right? And I was talking, we did the interview with Gene, and he just said, man, the street's just too low with their estimates on this thing. I think they're going to have to start bumping their estimates. And shoot, it ended November at 267.25. I know the event was before that. And sure enough, man, that's exactly what's been happening. The street's been chasing it up, bumping up estimates. And yeah,
the P multiple going forward has went from like 17 to like 24. So this has all just been multiple expansion. It hasn't really been earnings growth. So this
Correct.
big move in the last year has been the mostly multiple expansion. What does that mean? It means, yes, the earnings are stable. Yes, the earnings are growing slightly, but, they didn't go up 100% last year. It was all in multiple expansions. So, when I was buying it back, it was net of cash when I was buying this thing at like $98 2 or 3 years ago when everybody was throwing it out. And I can remember having these arguments on the show. I'm actually going back, I guess, to 3 years ago in 2016. I was like, when you back out the cash, Apple's trading like 6-7 times earnings when you were backing out the cash back then in 2016. I was like, how do you really lose? And I remember Nick Shaheen saying the same thing. And he was rating puts at like $75 because, people were saying, oh, this thing could go on a technical basis, go to 50. Technicals work to a certain extent, but when you really analyze it, I mean, it still comes down to fundamentals. Are they going to kill this thing down, to a P multiple of 3 or 4? It's not like it's, the dividend wasn't safe. It wasn't, it's a completely different story. So you've got to analyze the fundamentals with the technicals sometimes too. And everybody was bearish this thing when this thing breached 100 back in 2016. And that's when I bought more stock. And that was a great buy. And I wish I would have bought more at the beginning of 2019 too, when it got back down to 140. But anyways, it's been a rip and rally here now. I think if you're coming in now, you're doing it backwards, in my opinion. You got to be buying, in your long-term portfolio whenever good companies, when people are starting to hate them, the companies that aren't going away. The iPhones weren't going away. And, you'd been rewarded here with a triple in 3 years.
Didn't the same time that Buffett bought, Icahn sold? Do you remember that?
Can't remember.
I do, because I remember writing about it. But
Icahn wrote this too. Like, he wrote it up for a while. So, not
he's
that
been
he
so
lost.
quiet.
He has. What's that stock doing? Icahn Enterprises, IEP. Holy, that's a sleepy and done nothing. Look at this IEP. Think about that. I mean, I don't know if that 12% dividend, I'm not sure what that's all about because I don't follow this company really that closely from a fundamental basis. I don't know if that was a one-time thing or not, but look at that IEP. You got some support in here in the 60 area.
It's gone nowhere. It's gone nowhere for...
Gone nowhere. In this bull market, this bull run. So, I don't know, Uncle Carl maybe isn't doing as good because you look at the last couple of years and you would think his stock would perform, and I know it's always a premium, which is why I never wanted to own it because there was this premium on Uncle Carl. But, in the last 2 years from 2017, the S&Ps are up like 60%. And a couple of years from the beginning of 2017, say 2.5 years. That same time period, IEP, I guess we got down to 47. I guess it really got low there. But
remember when it went to that 149.77?
And yeah, and we wrote a piece back then, when we were running, pre-market info. And I remember we wrote a piece and saying, hey, the NAV here is $65 or $70, and you're going to pay $149 for it. That was just when everybody was like, everything was about Carl Icahn. And that was the all-time high. You've got to look at stuff like that. When you're buying funds like this, how much is the stock trading above the net asset value? How much is this fund price trading above the NAV? I don't know where the IEP NAV is. I think it's still below here. I haven't looked at it for a long time, but Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway is the same thing, trades with a premium because you're getting the Buffett premium. These guys are getting older though. So, you got to consider that as well. What are we talking about? How is this going to transition once, Icahn and Buffett aren't around anymore? Do they take the premium back out of a couple of these? Do they take the premium back out? Is it going to be the next person running it's going to be as effective as Warren Buffett? That's all stuff to think about. I mean, we had the same worries with Apple as well, and that worked out okay with Steve Jobs. I mean, everybody's worried he got cancer. What's going to happen when Steve Jobs is gone? All the ideas are gone. I mean, since Steve Jobs has died, the stock has, been straight up. So there's lots of considerations in there always, but I mean, you got to look at the NAV when you're buying funds.
Steve Jobs.
I don't like to pay 100% premium on NAV.
He died on my birthday.
What year was that?
2012.
Was it that long ago?
I think so.
Was it 2012, Spencer? It couldn't have been. Was it? It
yeah,
wasn't.
No, I remember actually where I was when I found out. So yeah,
it was 8 years ago.
Yep.
Holy mackerel, these years are flying by now.
Look at 10.
I'm like, that was 8 years. That feels like 8 weeks ago. Like, it doesn't feel like that long. I mean, it was more than 8 weeks ago, but it doesn't feel like 8 years ago. It feels like a few years ago. These years are just flying by, man. I'm getting scared.
Don't be scared.
The first half went, I think the second half of your life, because I'm 43 years old, so I'm entering the second half of my life, I would think, if I live a longevity life of 86. The second half of your life, I think, is going to go faster than the first half of your life. Or maybe I'm wrong. Joel,
Right.
how's it feel to be 80?
Yeah, I look pretty
You
good
knew that
for
was
80.
coming.
You want to arm wrestle?
right.
Arm wrestle. I'm
Let's
not
get-
going to try to outswim you. I'll tell you that.
All right, let's cover some ratings, and then I want to go to the chat for more. But there are a couple of ratings that are interesting this morning. On the upgrade side, iRobot getting an upgrade
Yeah.
from Raymond James just to market perform, but it's not one that we've talked about, I don't think, for a while.
I think there's some short interest in this one too. I am long iRobot. I'm long this longer term. I actually added more right at the bottom. So
Good for
I
you.
don't usually do that, but I took Joel's advice. I know we don't give advice, but I took his little saying, never frown, average down. I originally bought this around
That's
58.
not Joel saying.
Yeah, that's a Joel saying. And then I bought more
Where's
like
it from,
43.
Spencer?
I don't know. That's a thing, isn't it? No?
I think Joel made it up.
Okay, fine.
No, I don't know. Where'd you get that, Joel?
I made it up.
Never frown, average down.
Yeah. Or make it shorter.
But
Don't
that cost base went from 58 to 50 for me though, and I'm all of a sudden up in iRobot. It
You know
worked in
who-
this one.
You know who
Adding
else?
to the loser worked here.
You know who else liked this one on the show the other day? It
Who's
was Bill Santiago. I don't know.
Yeah, but Bill was given the opposite. Like he was like,
No, he's
that
logged
scares
it.
me.
I don't know, because I played that. I never played clips for the show for Lisa, but I'm like, you got to hear this guy. He's absolutely hilarious, and he talked about iRobot, and she picked some up on Bill's recommendation.
Oh, really? When
Yeah.
Bill doesn't give official recommendations. He was
I know.
joking, but we
No,
gotta
he
watch. We
talked
don't
about
give
it.
recommendations. You gotta take that word and throw it out the window. We never give recommendations.
Exactly.
Not in the legal sense, no.
We give our thoughts and opinions. That is all this show is, an opinion show. We are not licensed, and we obviously Spencer reads a disclaimer every day, and it's on the site. But we only give opinions on this show. Recommendations is a naughty word in this industry.
Yeah, what is that recommendation?
Here is a recommendation from Goldman Sachs.
Okay, they can do that.
They can do that.
They can do that. Sell Michaels, M-I-K. That's what they're saying this morning. Downgrade it to sell.
They've been listening to pre-market prep. We've been touting the horn to sell Michaels from an opinion standpoint for the last 5 years. Ever since they sold me a $30 pair of scissors, I was like, I'm done with this company. $6 now. We've been right. We've been dead right on Michaels. We've hated the stock.
I just don't know what to say. I mean,
I still hate the stock. I agree, Goldman.
they're
And people could say, and you do have some support down at $6. So if you're coming in 660, $6 is major support for this. So let's see if it can bounce there once again. But I do not like Michaels.
I'll just say that this one had a bad few days, like going into this from 850 down to the $7 area. So there's been some selling going on. I don't know if you're going to get that kind of capitulated bottom. I would just they took it to a sell rating.
They did.
All right. I mean, the only thing I'll say about that, you can take it with a grain of salt. When did they downgrade Macy's to a sell?
Oh, they got the bottom.
Yeah, they got the bottom on that one.
Yeah, they got the bottom. They sold. It was the very bottom of the move. I think it was. I think it's probably that 1430 tick. Actually,
I will tell you the date. It was December 9th.
Oh, December the 9th. Okay, so we're looking not the very bottom, but close to it. So they got the 1476 tick.
Correct.
And it's been straight up since.
Yep. Who knows?
I mean, the Macy's still has an 8% dividend. They keep saying, they got the real estate. There's some arguments there that Macy's is worth something. So. Is it worth $40? Probably not, with the way the company and the earnings, but with the real estate and all the other stuff, 8.6% dividend might be safe for a while. So it's hard to sell stocks that are, sell stocks short that are paying 8.6% dividend with no imminent dividend cut coming. I mean, this has been like this for a long time. So I don't think it's imminent that the dividend's going to get cut. So it's hard to be short this stock.
Here's another recommendation. Sell
This is from who?
From Loop Capital. Sell not Dentist 3D Systems. 3D
selling
systems.
Me
3D Systems.
Well, I was 3 days early. I sold my 3D systems into this. So I had this one on for a while. This was supposed to be one of those, turnaround. I thought maybe this 3D printing stuff turnaround story, and it really didn't materialize, and it ripped. It's ripped since 2020. Your classic, buy the laggards trade here in 2020, and the stock's ripped up 50% in 7 days. So I took the money and ran, And, now it's down here. It's actually, I took the money early, so it's back down to where I sold it. I sold it 11 and a quarter just a few days ago, 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, maybe. So it kept on going here. I don't know what to say, but I sold my stock into this rally. Too much too fast.
Let's see. Let's get back above yesterday's low at 1156. So that's going to be your resistance. 1190, the high close in the move. Really, if you're no good support here. I'm just looking at the daily levels. No good support until you get under $11. I don't know if they can do it today on this downgrade, but I'll call 1070. You want to see it get back down to that area, that 1075. Split your 2 and 3 day lows.
That's mostly it. There are some other ratings, but those are the few that caught my eye. I don't know if there's any others that caught your eye, Dennis or Joel, or anyone in the chat.
There's a lot of ratings, but again, it's a lot of smaller companies here. I'm just trying to go through them here too. You got about 30 downgrades there, but nothing really like, whoa.
Nothing
Big,
huge.
we'll call it Xilinx got downgraded by Mizuho. That's, a stock, XLNX. Some of the chip stocks are starting to look a little bit tired. Are they not? Is it just me, or is it some of these chip stocks, they've been on a hell of a run, even NVIDIA and AMD, they've been on a hell of a run. Maybe AMD is just pausing to eventually get back above 50, which it probably is because this trend has been so pesky. But look at the Intel. I mean, a little bit of head and shoulders happening here now. The Micron starting to look tired. I'm long Micron still in the long-term portfolio. Applied Materials had a hell of a run. LRCX, they all kind of are just a little bit tired. Maybe this is just a breather till eventually they go higher again. Or is this a potential turn in trend? I'm asking you.
I just look for I'll just go with the AMD here, the hot rod of the group.
Above 50, it'd be in breakout mode again.
And below 48, I think you find some sellers. And you're right smack dab in
there
the
you
middle.
Go.
Yep. So
below 48, you're short up. Above 50, a buy. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Make sure the breakout doesn't become a fake out, though.
Yeah, there's got to be.
This could be one of those sneaky ones that goes like 50 and a half on you, and then all of a sudden it's back under 50. When you're buying breakouts, you want the stock to stay breaking out. You don't want the stock to come back in.
Tesla continues to leak here, down 2260.
Morgan Stanley continues to rally.
What's going on with Morgan Stanley?
You can't. Okay, so, and I was saying I thought 55, we could put a lid on it. You lose money trying to call tops. When the stocks are just going up, let them go up. Stop trying to short rocket ships. Not that I, was trading it or anything, but I just said I thought, it could top out at 55. We like to give you levels where we think the stock could go or where it could come from, or where maybe it turns around. It's difficult game just coming in and shorting stocks when they're going straight up because they can go up for a bit. I cannot believe it's up 6% on this. I mean, this is a pretty good report, but is it better than the JP Morgan and Citigroup numbers, which eventually gave it back? It looks like this is just going to continue to rip here, though. So if you're playing the fade trade in Morgan Stanley, which, I thought might be a play around 55, you'd be down $1 already. So, we always talk about when we make good calls in the show, that would have been a bad call by me.
We're getting a couple questions here about the bond market, which we don't talk about a whole lot. I'm looking at the 30-year bond. I know, Dennis, you like to look at the TLT. I mean, I just don't think rates are really going anywhere in this year. I mean, unless something changes.
Yeah, there's not. And look at the way the TLT is done. It's a great point. You just look at here, and we kind of just hanging out. We're down a little bit. We're up a little bit. We're down a little bit. We're up a little bit. We're just kind of the accordion chart going on there in the last couple of months from the TLT. So hard to just jump in here and say, oh yeah, we're going to start, rates are going to start going lower here. We're going to get long the TLT. I mean, it's tough to call rates.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't,
I don't see them doing much either.
No, banging the door.
Sell premium.
No. Yeah.
That's what I think I would be doing. If you're trading around this thing, maybe this is where you just sell premium. Go out the TLT, just keep selling premium.
Okay, Anne-Marie Band hopping into YouTube chat says there's an ECB meeting next week. And
that could be a catalyst.
That's going to be the last one. No, we don't have the Drogster anymore, right? We got someone.
Is Draghi gone?
We have Lagarde, Christine Lagarde.
Is Draghi officially gone now?
Draghi's term is over.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. It's like the loss of Bernanke. That's a big loss. We like Drogster.
Yeah,
the Dragster.
Yeah, he every time he was on, he said something bullish. But it, anyways, we got just a few more minutes here.
Yeah, I would like to get some tickers from the chat. And speaking of
Oh.
breakouts, somebody mentioned Zynga. I have now looked at this one for a hot second.
I had this stock for a long time and I sold it, and I wish I wouldn't have sold it. I also had Glue Mobile. I was playing both of these. Glue Mobile is interesting too. GLUU is what I'm talking about on Glue Mobile. Above 650, Glue Mobile gets interesting. Zynga's been moving. And we obviously talked about the e-gaming, and obviously these are game makers, they're online game makers, they make apps. I think that's still a business that is worth investing in. And yeah, some of these things have come a long ways. EA has come back a long ways from the lows. ATVI is a long ways from the low. Full disclosure, I'm still long ATVI, and I'm also long Take-Two, TTWO. So I'm long those two. But I was long Zynga for a long time. I actually did really well in the Zynga. I think I bought it in the, I want to say like when it broke out, and if you go back to early 2019, it broke out from that 450 area. And then it ran up to over 6, and I was like, that's a pretty good move, and I booked it, and it was a 30% gain, I believe, in the course of like 4 or 5 months. It's continuing, so it looks like it sets up well. I think I'd be a buyer of pullbacks on Zynga. I'd like to get my stock back, so if it gets back to the low 6, I might rebuy it.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's going to give me a chance.
This thing just doesn't. It's hard to give technicals in it. I mean, psychological $7 level. That's really all I could give you. Yesterday's high 692. It just moving up incrementally. Keeps posting new closing highs for the move. So you want to see that, and then I think just finally clear out 7 and get above 7.
Going back to the chat here, someone just dropped in Qualcomm. Speaking of chip stocks, but
I butchered this trade all up, and I had it the first time really well. I had it from 50 to like 65 or 70, and I sold it, so I made pretty good money, and then it ended up going to 90, and I was like, Then it came all the way back down. I ended up rebuying it, but then I sold it too soon again, and then I tried to short it once in there. Like these were swing trades, and I messed that one up. It was like I didn't lose money on it, but it was like the FIFO problem where I'm like, and maybe it's because they were on for trades or swing trades or whatever. And I can't remember all the details of all of them, but I just remember leaving a lot of meat on the bone every single time I've traded Qualcomm. So you think it's a big move when it moves $5 and then it goes 20. So it's setting up that and we got the 5G cycle coming too for QCOM. So you think about all of that aspect of it. I mean, it sets up that I could see this a triple-digit stock eventually.
Let's see here. You gapped up. This was a while ago, and you ran to 94.11. Ahead of that, you can just go your daily highs. I see a pair of highs. These are just shorter term targets. You have a pair of highs at $92 area, 92.5. And then, as I said, 94.11 was that kind of that blow off top back in November for Qualcomm. Also, someone asking about pins. Pin interest, right?
That's Pinterest.
They're going around and they're buying these stocks now. They're buying the ones that they're looking for the techs. And these, think about how much all these IPOs were hated 6 months ago or even 3 months ago. They're starting to be loved now. Uber has turned around here. If we just go and look at that chart, Lyft has kind of turned around here in the last little while, although not fully getting above 50. It really gets interesting there. I mean, Pinterest, think about all these stocks that we've talked about for a long time. They're starting to get interesting. Pinterest was a classic breakout above 20. I somehow screwed this one up because I ended up buying it that day and somehow I messed it up. I don't even know how I messed that one up, but it's amazing what psychology will do to you. I think the market started to roll over and then I started to talk myself out of it, and I should have just held on because Pinterest, later on this afternoon, went up $1. So I bought it just above 20 and I somehow talked myself out of it, but because of an overall market effect. But anyways, everything that has been lagging, some of these little tech plays from the IPOs from last year that have been lagging are starting to show life.
How about this Smile Direct Club rally?
Well, that's squeeze.
Yeah.
And that's been squeezing. And if you're coming in now, you're way late to the party. 3 days ago, it's $9. You're going to come buy to 14 now? Look at the Beyond Meat chart. Look at the Rite Aid chart. Eventually, Smile Direct could look the same way. So if you're coming in here now and buying it, could it squeeze to 15, 16, 17? Could do anything. We don't know where the top of this thing. I'm going to stop trying to call the top. But when you get that red candle, you start to see, a significant, like a stock opens up at 15 and then starts to pull back off that. That's your sign to maybe I've, too long in the tooth in this now. So
And
I think this is
yeah.
just a classic squeeze. I think if you look at the Beyond Meat chart, I can't tell you which day it's going to top out. But I think when we look at Smile Direct, I think, when we look at it a month from now, I think it's lower. So I don't know where it tops, though.
You know what? We had a 2110 IPO high. You went down to 7.56.
Joel's going to try to tell you where it tops.
No, I'm just trying to give you a level, just a level based on the markets. And this has been a big retracement. 1433, if you want to target in this one, that is from your high to the low of the move, a 50% retracement. So there's your target on the upside. So we'll keep an eye on that for Smile Direct Club. People are smiling and on that one. I wonder how many times that pun's been used on Wall Street.
Let's just do one more. Let's just do Snap.
Okay, boy, a lot of Snap. I covered it in the chat for KP.
Yeah.
KP was the guy we met at the FinTech Awards, wasn't it, Dennis? I think so. Didn't he say that's what his name was? Boy, oh boy.
Remember that.
Dennis does not remember that.
I have the goldfish memory, so.
Man, this 1850 area, I just can't get away from this. Yesterday's high, 1852. Your October high comes in at, no, that's not your October high. Your July high comes in at 1836. So, man, clear that 18 and a half area. Yeah, you got another leg up, but man, oh man, it's been a pesky level for it. A few more closes over 18 would be good. This thing IPO'd right around 30. Where did we go to? $4, $5, $5, 25, 12 and a half. Yeah, I mean, you're getting up near that.
I think you're trading down here today, though, because we often talk about CEO buys. We have a huge CEO sale on this last night, and actually last night I was long it. I sold it because it was like, it's not a huge deal. I mean, the guy still owns like 60 million shares, but CEO Spiegel sold 2.7 million shares at 1801. So this would have been reported just from a couple days ago in the SEC filing there. So it's a huge sale. So maybe like he's going to buy a yacht. There could be a lot of reasons to sell it there, but I think you're probably trading down slightly here because the CEO booked some significant profits in this.
Dennis, do you want to do a lunch bet? Who's closer to where Tesla closes the session today?
I have no idea. I'm not even going to touch it.
It's leaking bad, man. Keep an eye on 473.
Yeah, it's leaking bad. You got a lot of people that are chasing this, and they're all scrambling out here this morning. But who knows? There's still people short this thing. I mean, I have no idea how to trade Tesla.
And they're on the offer.
No idea. No bet for me. No trade for me on Tesla. No touch for me today.
All right, Dennis, do you want to be in charge of hot potato for tomorrow?
You got to send me a text reminder. I forget everything. Yes, I do. I'm going to do Beyond.
Okay, I'll remind you. I'll remind you this afternoon, okay? Okay.
I'm in.
I
wrote it down.
He's in. Okay, I'll text him. All right. That's going to be it for our show. You can always give us a call during the show, before the show, after the show. Leave us a voicemail. Leave your name as well if you want. 734-494-0246. Or if that's not your bag, you can hop into either of our chats on YouTube and premarket.benzinga.com. Thanks to all of you, everyone in those chats. We appreciate your participation as always. You can catch the podcast of our show wherever podcasts are available, or rewatch our show on youtube.com/Benzinga TV. Everyone have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you on Friday for the final show of the week.